Today we're gonna take this ham and turn it into some juicy, tender, delicious smoked pulled ham. We're gonna be using a bone-in shank portion ham. It's really important that for this style of a cook, where you cook it to that really high temperature, you actually wanna make sure it's the bone-in kind, not sliced. We're gonna take this up to an extremely high temperature, just like we do a pork butt. We're gonna shred apart beautifully. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get a binder on this ham. Now today I'm using yellow mustard. If you're grossed out by mustard for whatever reason, you could use oil or hot sauce. The goal here is just to get a little bit of color. Oh, that's embarrassing. I gotta take the cap off of my mustard. And you know what? I'm gonna get some gloves on too. All right, let's try this again. So the goal here is not to get this super slathered up or anything. We just wanna get a little bit on here. We're gonna spread it all around. We want an extremely thin, light coat. Now the reason why I'm doing this is I'm not gonna let this sweat out at all. I'm gonna season this up and I'm gonna throw it right onto the smoker. I have my smoker going at 180 degrees on the extreme smoke mode, and I'm using some apple pellets. I wanna use some fruit wood to give this a nice sweet flavor on the smoked ham. I think it's gonna be delicious. For my seasoning today, I'm using Cosmos Q Killer Honey Bee Dry Rub. This honestly has been my go-to recently. I really love the great like sweet barbecue flavor that it gets on there. This is where that binder kind of helps us out here, is you could just sprinkle it on, and if it starts to touch that moisture, it's gonna stick. Let's get it on all sides. Now we can kind of pick it up, roll it around a little bit, and I'm going real heavy with my seasoning today. And the reason is because this is a huge ham, and when it's all said and done, you're gonna hardly notice that you have any on there at all. You see how beautiful that this thing is seasoned right now? That binder really helps in situations when you use big pieces of meat like this and you're rolling it all around. I'm actually gonna go ahead now, season up this underside a little bit. Just kind of hit up that seasoning board. So now that we have this ham all seasoned up, I'm gonna go ahead and take it over to my smoker. I'm gonna load it up on there, kind of in the center to the right area of my smoker. I have it going in that super smoke mode. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down overnight. Right now it is 9:45 p.m. So I'm honestly gonna let this go for probably about closer to the 10-hour mark. What's up guys? Good morning. It has been 10 hours. I overslept a little bit maybe. It's 7:45 right now in the morning. Let's go ahead, open up the smoker and see what it looks like. Wow, we have built a beautiful, beautiful, deep red, rich color. Some of that dark black is starting to get on there. We have a great little bark that is formed. Let's go ahead and get a temperature check right down there in the middle. We're sitting right at about 148, 149. See right over here, 151. So it took about 10 hours to get to 150 degrees. I don't think that we need to keep smoking this any longer. I know typically most people like to wrap their meats right around that 165, 170 mark. But since we've been going 10 hours on this low smoke mode, I don't think that's necessary. I think that we've achieved a nice bark. We have some good smoke flavor in there. Our seasoning has set on real nice. I think now we can go ahead and wrap. So today we want to make sure that we use heavy duty foil and the extra wide kind. These hams are pretty big, so I like to lay out one sheet towards the top, then I like to lay out one sheet towards the bottom. Then I like to kind of crimp up my edges, and that just makes a little boat that it could sit on. So let's go ahead and transfer it inside. So now that we have our ham in here, there's two things that we want to do. When you put liquid inside of these foil little contraptions, it helps to steam, which just makes it tender and moist. And when I do something like this at a higher temperature, like 300 degrees or higher, I like to use just a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Now if I'm going a little bit lower, like 250, 275 on ribs, I'm comfortable using apple juice, but the higher temperature that you use, the more likely it is that your sugars are going to start to burn, and then you're getting like a burnt flavor in there, and I don't want to do that. And now I don't want to use a whole ton. All I want to do, I got to be careful as I do this because I don't want to, yeah, there we go. So just a tiny little bit, just kind of go around it. It's probably only maybe like 2, 3, 4 tablespoons, quarter cup maybe. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this barbecue sauce, and you can use whatever barbecue sauce you want. I used Kinder's, one of their like sticky honey barbecue sauces. Barbecue sauce isn't that important, just use your favorite kind. And this part isn't really super important either. We're not trying to make it look pretty because this isn't going to be like a finishing glaze or anything. This ham has an incredibly great color, guys. I'm really impressed what those pellet grills could do when you put it on low smoke overnight. I only used about maybe a quarter cup, a little less than half a cup of barbecue sauce. That's about all you need. We got to get this thing back on the smoker quick so it doesn't lose temperature too fast. I'm going to fold up my sides first. Let's get this side folded up. I'm gonna get this side. I never know what to say when I'm doing this stuff either, so I just usually end up repeating a lot of the words. It's very awkward to try to film a video and cook a ham. I'm really good at cooking hams. I don't know how great I am at filming videos. Now we got our ham all folded up. It's nice and sealed. Let's get it back on the smoker. So very quickly, we're gonna take our ham, I'm gonna set it right back in that same spot on our smoker. We're gonna get it shut down. The goal here is to get this to 208, 212, 206 degrees, somewhere in that range where it's super tender, fall off the bone. That's where we wanna get it to. Now to do that, I'm gonna crank up the temperature quite a bit. I'm actually gonna turn this up to 300 degrees and we're gonna let it go at 300 until it is done. It's something that I like to do when I'm smoking something for a long period of time that needs to reach a certain temperature. I don't wanna keep opening this thing up, letting heat out, sticking my thermopen in. I like to use these chef alarms by Thermoworks. Again, I'll have a link down in the description if you want to check one of these out. But these things are awesome. Let me show you how they work. We could actually set our different temperatures. So what I want to do is I want to go here to my high alarm and I want to set that for 208 degrees. And then we're gonna hit alarm on. Then we can go ahead, set this up right here. And then most smokers have this little hole right here that you can kind of put your probes through. Then we're actually gonna open up the smoker. We're gonna grab out our little probe. We're gonna fish this wire through right here. And we're just gonna take a really nice thick part. So I'm gonna let this sit on here until it is absolutely done. We're not gonna come out and check. We're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna let this bad boy hang out in the smoker until it's done. It's actually really been going for about 3 hours. We're at 207.3 degrees. I'm gonna open this up and just verify with my thermopen. Oh yeah, 210 right there, 212. This thing, oh my gosh. Right there, it only says 200, but I mean, this thing is just gonna fall apart, shred apart. I already know it. So at this point in time, there's a few different ways that you could do this. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and get my smoker shut off. And then I'm gonna lift up the lid and I'm gonna let it cool off for about 10 minutes or so. And then I'm actually gonna shut the lid back down and I'm just gonna let this hang out here in the warm smoker and kind of cool down a little bit and get down to a better ideal serving temperature of around 140 degrees. But I'll shred it well before then because I'm very impatient and it's a lot easier for me to tell you to wait that long than it is for me to wait that long. Now, if you have people coming over at like 5, 6 o'clock and you want this to be piping hot, at that point, you could go ahead and put this in a cooler, wrap it up with some towels and keep it nice and warm in there. And if it does get below that temperature, you can pop it back in the oven at 170 degrees, kind of keep floating it at around that 140 degree mark. You know, I'll let it run for 30 minutes, shut it off. It'll stay nice and warm in there. And you can kind of let it rest the entire day up until your people show up and you want to serve it to them. We've had the ham resting for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. That's about all that I could handle today. I got it in my garage, I unwrapped it, and this thing just feels so tender. Oh my gosh, look at that. I wish you guys could have just seen that. Hopefully I got it on camera. I literally just poked this one end and it just went bloop, and it just fell out. Let's go ahead and see how these bones are doing here. Oh my gosh, look at this meat. Oh my gosh. Look at this meat. Look at how tender this is. Wow, this literally is exactly like a pork butt. I have to give this a try. Let's go ahead. Let me tell you guys what, I normally use hickory on everything. If you watch my channel, every single video, hickory, 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 hickory. I don't know if it's just because this is a ham and I use a sweet rub, but I swear I could taste the apple smoke in there. Normally I make fun of people when they say stuff like that, when you change like one minor little detail and they're like, oh, you could taste the difference. But I swear, having it 10 hours in that super smoke and trying just a bark piece with a very thin little piece of meat that's full of smoke, it really does have a different flavor of smoke than that normal hickory does. Let's go ahead and get our little paws in here and just shred this all up. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Look at these big hunks down here. Oh yeah. If you guys are making this recipe for a holiday that's coming up, feel free to comment down below, ask me any questions. I usually respond pretty quickly. And when it goes good, let me know down in the comments below how everybody liked it. My favorite thing to do is to make great food that my friends and my family can enjoy, and I like to help you guys at home make food that your friends and your family enjoys. So if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. I have a new video coming out every single Friday. If you want to watch another video just like this one, you can click this video right here, and I'll see you guys next week.